The space between breaths. First-person narration. I've always believed, deep down in the parts of our minds we try not to explore, that existence isn't as simple as life and death. There's a space between those two states, a thin membrane that occasionally slips, weakens, stretches. Every time you hear something move in the shadows, every time you swear you saw something flicker in your peripheral vision, that's the place I'm talking about. The space between being and not. I wish I could tell you I learned this from a book or a late-night conspiracy video. But no, I learned it firsthand, and it nearly killed me. The assignment. My greatest fear has always been the inability to breathe. Drowning, being buried alive, getting stuck in tight places. Even thinking about it sends a wave of cold panic crawling up my spine. So when I chose to become a chemical engineer, someone who regularly deals with hazardous environments, I never imagined my career would drag me straight into the heart of that fear. My assignment came on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. A simple message, greater than gas leak in a small Alaskan mining town. Missing persons. You're up. That was it. No background, no urgency in the voice of the dispatcher. You don't get those until you're on the ground. My flight dropped me off in McCarthy, Alaska, a community so small that the mountains felt like they were swallowing it whole. The local police were polite, almost overly polite, and helped me get settled while carefully avoiding every question I had about the incident. Talk to the on-site commander tomorrow, they said. Active investigation. That phrase always means something is wrong. The mine. The next morning I met Sergeant Jackson at the police blockade set up at the base of the Kennecott mine, a relic from the old copper baron days. The place looked like it had been ripped straight out of a history book about exploitation and greed. Abandoned buildings half rotted, beams groaning in the cold. Jackson finally told me what the locals refused to say the night before. 2 teenagers had entered the old mine. Neither had come back. The officers who tried to follow them suffered severe headaches, vertigo, confusion, classic methane symptoms, but strangely intensified. Feels different, they kept saying. As I strapped on my SCBA, my breathing equipment, the old fear rose up again, sharp and heavy. Even though I checked the airflow twice, then 3 times, my lungs still tightened the way they always do. But panic or not, I started climbing toward the mine entrance. Entering the dark. I've been called to dangerous scenes before. Anthrax scares, hazardous spills, suspicious white powders that turn out to be nothing. But nothing prepared me for the moment my handheld gas probe screamed to life as soon as I stepped near the wooden beam marking the mine's entrance. Stranger still. The beam was carved with symbols, old warnings, pictographs, reminders not to disturb whatever lay wounded beneath the earth. I recorded the readings anyway and stepped inside. There is darkness. And then there is mine darkness. Light doesn't fade in there. It gets swallowed. Every step deeper felt like giving up a little piece of myself. My breathing echoed inside my mask, loud and shaky, reminding me that if anything failed, I would suffocate before help ever reached me. The walls tightened around me, the air thickening with dust and something else I couldn't identify. My probe kept chirping, its warnings bouncing off the stone. Then the passage narrowed, so much that I had to crouch, then finally crawl. My helmet scraped the ceiling, my back dragged along jagged stone. My fear had its hands around my throat, but I kept going. Because somewhere in that darkness, 2 kids were waiting for someone to find them. The lanterns. After what felt like miles, the tunnel suddenly opened into a chamber. That alone was strange enough. What made me stop cold was the line of lit kerosene lanterns stretching down the corridor. Not glow sticks, not electric lamps, lanterns, open flame, underground. Kerosene hadn't been used in mining for decades. Methane and fire do not mix at all. The smallest spark could ignite an explosion. Yet the lanterns burned steadily, untouched. Against every professional instinct I had, I removed my mask and tested the air with a shallow breath. Nothing burned. My throat didn't seize. It made no sense. But I kept going. The crawl. The lanterns thinned out until the darkness swallowed everything again. The tunnel shrank, squeezing me from all sides. My tank clanked against the stone, blocking my path. I don't know what possessed me, but I unclipped it and pushed it aside. My only guaranteed source of air, gone. The tunnel tightened until my arms were pinned to my sides. Each inhale pressed my ribs against cold stone. My head was turned awkwardly to the right and I couldn't straighten it. Inhale. Push forward. Inhale. Push. The space got tighter. My lungs had less room to expand. Then I heard it. A faint voice, calling me from ahead, a child's voice. Keep going. My chest burned. I could only sip tiny thread-like strands of air. My vision pulsed. My hands went numb. I took one more breath, one more push, and the stone crushed the air right out of me. There was no panic reflex, no final burst of strength, just burning. Everything burning. They say drowning brings euphoria, a gentle slipping into nothing. I found no comfort in that stone coffin. I was awake for every suffocating second, until the darkness finally claimed me. The silhouette. When I opened my eyes, I was standing. The tunnel around me had widened into an impossible space. No lanterns, no equipment, just stone and a faint gray light from nowhere. A silhouette stood in the distance, watching me. Then it turned and walked deeper into the cavern. I followed, stumbling, gasping, always a few steps behind. Finally, I shouted, my voice breaking, "Why me? What did I do? I only wanted to help." I collapsed to the ground, sobbing until my whole body shook. The figure stopped, turned, knelt beside me. A hand, cold and weightless, rested on my shoulder. Then the voice came, not through my ears, but inside my head. Greater than, "I know, it's going to be okay. There was nothing you could do." The voice was gentle, heartbreaking, and unbearably familiar. The loop. I jolted awake at my desk. Papers everywhere, coffee half cold, the familiar hum of my office. My phone rang. My boss's voice. "We've got an assignment for you. Gas leak, Alaska. You leave tonight." I slammed the phone down so hard the receiver bounced. I didn't grab my bag, didn't shut down my computer. I just walked out, straight into the cold daylight. Down the street, a chapel glowed with a neon cross. Warm light spilled onto the sidewalk, cutting through the winter air. I don't know what pulled me inside. Fear, maybe. Instinct, or the faint echo of that silhouette's voice. A man in a collar greeted me at the door. His voice, God, his voice, was the same gentle tone that spoke inside the cavern. He smiled softly, greater than, "Welcome home, my child."